Calaroga Shark Media.
Hello and welcome to Palace Intrigue. I am your host, Mark Francis. Happy birthday to the King. Charles Philip Arthur George was born on November 14th, 1948, as the eldest child of Elizabeth and Philip. Charles became heir to the throne at just age of 3 when his grandfather, King George VI, died and his mother became Queen. Today, the King and Queen will officially launch the Coronation Food Project, which seems to bridge the gap between food waste and food need across all 4 nations of the United Kingdom, helping people and helping the planet. The King plans to attend a tea party at Highgrove House. The King will also host a reception at Buckingham Palace for 400 nurses and midwives as part of this year's NHS 75 celebrations. The NHS choir is set to perform a surprise birthday song in his honour. This evening, the King reportedly will be joined by close friends and family for a private dinner at Clarence House. Harry will not be in attendance. Royal expert Richard Fitzwilliams claims Harry simply doesn't care about not being invited to the King's birthday celebrations. Fitzwilliams said, "I really don't think Harry cares about not being invited to his father's 75th. The rift runs deep. The Sussexes reportedly still want an apology from the royal family. What the future holds is uncertain. It's not a pleasant prospect for King Charles to deal with." Who would trust Harry and Meghan, especially after their timing releasing the news about not hearing anything about an invite to King Charles' 75th birthday celebrations hours before the King's first speech opening Parliament as monarch? Depending on who you believe, Harry either was or wasn't invited. Meanwhile, the Express suggests Meghan may have outsmarted us all. The theory is that Meghan clutters the headlines, so you can't easily reach for what you are really looking for. Royal expert Kinsey Schofield was on Talk TV and said, perhaps these rumours of Meghan doing the Bodyguard sequel were just to dilute the Google searches regarding her negative relationships with bodyguards in the past. So if this story about doing the Bodyguard comes out, all of these stories about Meghan firing bodyguards or not getting along with bodyguards, those are driven down lower in the Google search results. Same with Katy Perry. Meghan went to the Katy Perry concert last weekend. Oh, so she is friends with Katy Perry now, or are we just trying to drive down the idea that Meghan and Katy Perry don't get along on Google search? You guys say this to me. It's the idea that they try to divert your attention or drown out another story by pushing out a similar story so they can control the narrative. Pretty smart, Meghan. So what was the high-speed car chase covering up? Palace Intrigue will be right back. Royal historian Dr. Tessa Dunlop said Harry's struggle to readjust to normal life was evident during his sketch for the Stand Up for Heroes event last week. Dunlop told the Royal Beat, Harry looked sharp, he looked relaxed. The reason why the stuff has landed about purpose is because Harry is still looking for a purpose post-military life. Almost all military veterans struggle to readjust. I think we have seen that publicity play out, so let's give him the benefit of the doubt on this one. Is Andrew trying to work the system for his family's benefit? A source said, Andrew has basically been stripped of his office, so it's very difficult for the Yorks to get their voice heard. They feel like they've lost any power they once had and total control of their own narrative. Although Andrew has a skeletal staff and the girls, Beatrice and Eugenie, have their own assistant private secretary, they are still very much governed by the palace, which is a very different scenario to when Andrew had his own working office. It's more the advisors than the king himself who are against the idea of Eugenie and Beatrice becoming working members of the royal family. People forget too easily that when the sisters were taking on more responsibility some years ago, they were heavily criticised for taking too many holidays or spending too much public money on security and other perks. The source adds, the monarchy will be criticised for giving too much responsibility to a subsection of the family who shouldn't be given their seat back at the table. What went on with Andrew had absolutely nothing to do with the girls. There are some members of the family who believe they should be kept down because of it, while others think they should be given a chance. Either way, Andrew has been feverishly networking behind the scenes to ensure his daughters are included again, and he won't give up until they are viewed as senior members of the family. And there you have it. If you'd like to email us, our address is thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com. Please follow us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, or your app of choice, and head on over to YouTube or youtube.com and do a search for Palace Intrigue there and hit subscribe. It really helps us out. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Intrigue, and good times.